Michael Jordan, it's really interesting, Rich, because like you said, what gives Michael Jordan the mystique that he has is that he played in an era and in a time where social media didn't exist. So we didn't know Michael Jordan's opinions. We didn't know. And again, he was still living under a microscope. Everybody followed the guy, loved the guy, but we didn't know his real thoughts.
Did you say a microscope?
A microscope.
If Danny G was here, he'd be grumbling.
Yeah, I'm grumbling inside. Right
I'm giving you some side eye, Sam. But I think that's part of the reason why we still love him the way we do. It's because we only really knew him as a basketball player and as the guy that wore Air Jordans.
In fact,
the guy that slammed dunks.
Some criticize him for not speaking up on certain issues.
Social issues,
but to the point where, you don't really say much. You can't upset many people. He was
different time,
he's
different
loved
place.
In the 80s and 90s. Everyone wanted to be like Mike. And with the NBA returning to NBC, and Round Ball Rock is making a comeback.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad. Well, Rich.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
For the record,
basketball.
Rich is a bigger John Tesh fan than he is a Michael Jordan fan. But I think part of the NBA on NBC, Michael Jordan angle, John Tesh, and it was also announced that Vince Carter is going to be part of the
coverage.
I think they're really looking for that nostalgia. I don't think Jordan's doing it for the money. I think he's doing it for that fan base and the younger fan base that he still needs. It's like marketing 101 for me. I always use the same example, Rich. Big brands like Budweiser or Coca-Cola, they're not advertising to you. You know what that is. They're advertising for the younger generation. So it's in their brand recognition. And the NBA is still a young man's game, and a lot of young people watch it. They know of Michael Jordan. They never saw him play, really. They've seen the highlights. They know the shoes. But you know what? Now he's going to be there every once in a while, back in everybody's face, young people's face, reminding everybody that he's the guy.
I think Last Dance was, for a younger generation, I think that might have been the most they learned or knew about Michael Jordan watching that documentary during COVID. And perhaps just a reminder, I just want to talk about the money for a second, because every time I hear someone say, man, I wonder what they're paying this guy, my first thought is, I read that he makes about $400 to $500 million a year. We're talking $500 million, billions and billions and billions. Guy makes $400+ billion from the Jordan brand and Nike.
Yeah, not too shabby.
Billions and billions and billions and billions.
And billions and billions. And when you make that much money, even if he got a Tom Brady contract, what did Tom make? 300-something million over 10 years? If Michael Jordan made $20-30 million a year, NBA and NBC, which he's not, if he did to be a contributor, that would still be like, what does that mean? When you're making, it's like, they always say like a guy like Bezos or
he's not doing it for the money.
Zuckerberg, like if they to stop and pick up $100 bill is a waste of their time. Those type of silly things you hear. How much? You ever see that stat of like how much Bezos makes per minute? Michael Jordan doesn't need the NBA on NBC's money.
No,
why is
he's
he
not
doing
it for free? But it's not for the money. I think it's again just to be out there. Might miss it a little bit.
I also think a reminder, like, hey, world, as we all get older and younger generations come into play, I want to remind everyone here, Michael Jordan here, I'm the GOAT.
But here's the thing. Can I give you another example? He's a busy guy. He doesn't need this. He's got a lot going on. Like we said, endorsements, his race team. He's Michael Jordan. He's a brand. He's a walking brand, just walking around.
Cove, you ever think he's bored though? Meaning, like, you love that game.
He might miss the NBA action, like being part of it.
Maybe
like
it's
part
like,
of it.
when you say, like, when people say, if you win the lottery, would you retire?
You think he's bored golfing and living an awesome life? I don't know. That could be. You can't discount that.
I'm just saying, imagine if every day you had the ability to go on a yacht, go on a private plane, go wherever you want. You don't think after a while you might be like, all right, maybe I want a little meaning. Maybe I want a little something.
Okay, but let's break this down. Special contributor. Very specific. What does it mean? it means he's not going to be there all the time. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And he's going to do his best, and it's going to be interesting. I guess Bryant Gumbel sort of thing, meaning I think he's going to do some interviews or some produced sort of package once in a while, but he's not going to be that guy that's there all the time because they're so pumped to have him as part of NBC that it's on his schedule, and they're always going to keep him in that great light because his brand's too big to take any risk. I don't think we're going to see like his true feelings on a certain situation.
I'm glad you said
cutting
that.
down young players.
I'm glad
it's
you
not
said
his
that.
style, and I don't think it's going to work for his brand. And I think it's going to be. You remember when Roger Clemens was like, "Yeah, I'll pitch, but I don't really want to pitch, and I really don't have to pitch." And they're like, "Rock it, but it'll be like home games, and we'll revolve everything around you." So he's like, "All right, well, I guess." I think that's what they're going to do for Michael Jordan. Like, hey, look, you're Michael Jordan. You don't need us. But guess what? We really want you. So we're going to do what you want, when you want, and how you want. And that's really it. And we'll reap the benefits because we'll see him. And then a whole younger audience also gets to see him.
Yeah. I think there's also something to be said about too much to risk with the brand. And look down at your feet right now. At least someone in this room is wearing Dunks or Jordans or something, right?
I got boxes of them at home.
It's a brand that
My shoes say Jeepers. Is
every
Chief, where'd you get them? Paylist?
yeah, sorry.
Spot gets
everyone.
his shoes at Paylist.
So
Rich is
everyone-
wearing Crocs, by the way.
I'm not wearing Crocs. I'm wearing Dunks today. But most guys own at least one pair of Jordans. There's too much to risk. So I'm saying you're not going to hear any like crazy hot takes from Michael Jordan. It's going to be pretty safe, and he'll be in control. And I believe most are saying they'll likely be pre-packaged, like nice segments that nothing live.
Big picture stuff.
Like big picture stuff.
Think
And
about it this way. It's been 40 years today since he won Rookie of the Year, right?
Yeah. It's been a minute.
1985. Do you know anything about where Michael Jordan stands on like current players? No. You barely know how he feels about LeBron, which was never really, honestly, I think what LeBron wanted it to be. You kind of knew how he felt about Kobe, right? They had a mutual respect there for sure. But you don't know what he thinks. I think you're going to get that from Vince Carter. That's like his role. I think you're going to get some great insight there. He's not going to come out and try to be like Shaq and Charles Barkley. It's not even going to be his role. Special contributor, very specific.
I know where he stands on yachts.
Yeah.
That's pretty much where he stands these days.
You know, I'll say this.
On golf courses.
You have
Right.
Sometimes legends have the ability to, quote, pass the torch intentionally or unintentionally, right? Like if David Letterman, I always remember David Letterman, Conan talks about how there was a moment where Letterman sort of gave him the thumbs up. He went on Conan's show when it first started.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you're a young, funny guy. I like this guy, Conan. And by doing that, he pretty much told the late night audience, David Letterman,
Endorse.
who's top of the heap, who didn't love David Letterman?
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill.
Number one.
He said to the world, yeah, I like this young Conan kid. I think Michael Jordan has the ability to really endorse
And by the way,
someone.
hold on, pause. Also a sign of great character because a guy like David Letterman doesn't have to do it. We've been in radio a long time. I don't think anyone has ever been like, hey, COVINO and Rich. You know who has? Colin Cowherd.
Yeah,
He's
that is
always
true.
said nice things about us. Yeah, and it shows you, honestly,
That he's the man.
my dad would say I'm kissing ass. Hey, don't be kissing ass. I'm not. It's the truth. But in other places we worked, the big dogs there, they never really acknowledged us at all. So for David Letterman to do that shows a lot about who he is.
And the fact that the great Dan Patrick is like, those guys are my fill-in, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's the pat on the back, or I guess you would say the endorsement. Michael Jordan has the ability to go on NBA on NBC
Yep.
and say, hey, you know what, world? If you ask me, Michael Jordan, you know, the GOAT that everyone loves, you're wearing my sneakers right now, and, oh, look, you probably have a apparel on with my Jumpman logo. Anthony Edwards, or, you know,
He just might be my son.
Wembanyama.
I love this boy.
What if he's like, Wembanyama, you know, he's the face. Like, whatever he says would carry so much weight.
Oh, my God. So much weight.
He can make the next king.
Yeah, he
king
can,
making.
Yeah, I knight him. Something he really never did for LeBron.